All right. Here at BrandCo, I am the Success Coordinator, and I am the go-to person when it comes to blogging and SEO, and namely our main product, which is Piggyback blogs. Um, and if you've been hearing those beeps, that is people coming to and leaving the presentation, I'll have those disabled for the next one. You learn a little something more every single time you do this. So the big thing here is that the first 30 minutes of this webinar are going to be instruction, me pretty much going through and telling you how to utilize a piggyback blog, why blogging is important, and what more you can do through blogging than what you just know right off the bat how to do. And then the last 30 minutes will be answering questions that you can ask through the chat window. If you are unable to hear anything, well, I don't know why I would tell you through here that you wouldn't be able to hear me. Top of the screen. Okay, so everyone in here definitely has Piggyback Blogger. You wouldn't have been invited. Um, Piggyback Blog is used in conjunction with the eAgency website to allow you the ability to earn SEO by regularly updating your website by adding content in a super easy fashion. Um, if you have a Piggyback blog, you probably recognize. Whoop, let's do. You probably recognize this screen. This is the Piggyback blog website. You can log in through here, but I also prefer having people log in through your actual website. So if you have the website ryanwright.com, your blog is most likely at blog.ryanwright.com. At that point, if you want to log in, it's as simple as adding a /wp-admin at the end. If you haven't manipulated your sidebar, most people will also have a section called Meta, where you'll be able to just click Log In. It says Log Out right now because there's an error, like I'm already logged in. So if you're going to log into your Piggyback blog, the first screen you're going to see is your dashboard. Your dashboard has a lot of information in it, and it pretty much is going to tell you how many posts you have, how many pages you have, and things like that. The most important key piece of where you're needing to go once you log into your Piggyback blog is to create a post. So you would go to Posts, Add New, or you can just click on Posts, and the page will load, and you can click Add New there. So once you're in here, it's as easy as clicking Add New or clicking Add New here, and they try to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to add content to your site. So if we're going to actually create our own content today, the best thing about your Piggyback blog is that your content doesn't have to always be related. Doesn't always have to be related to your actual real estate. It can be about your area. I've told a couple of clients recently about the ability of just going through Pinterest, find things that you would tell your clients about on a regular basis. Utilize things like Pinterest or Stumble Upon, things like that that give you the information that you usually rely on yourself, and spin it in your own words. Don't copy and paste other people's content. I get that question a lot. And the fact is, if you're going through the trouble of copying and pasting someone else's content, you're wasting your time. When you do that, someone else is already getting credit for that content when it comes to search engines. You're getting no credit at all then, and if any, it's going to be negative. So when you find that article that's really good, you want to base some content on your own website off of it, you need to write it in your own words, like a summary. Um, so just like anything you write up these days, something has a subject title. Whenever you write an email, there's a subject to it. If you write a paper for school or anything like that, there's a title to the actual paper that you're writing. And it needs to be descriptive so that this is like the first thing that a search engine is going to see about your actual blog post. And it's kind of like the descriptive nature of what you've been writing about. And it helps to figure out like what your direction needs to be whenever you're writing. So I have a blog post already written that I'm going to show you, but you literally just write your title in, and then this is where you're going to be writing your content. Now, you can do a lot of things in there where you're, changing the way things show up, adding in photos. You can insert photos into there. You can add in property searches. You can use categories. But the main, purpose when it comes to writing these blogs is doing it on a regular basis, writing about the things that you want to be found for, and then, adding the content on a regular basis. The more content you add, the better off you're going to be. However, don't write all that content all in one day and publish all of it, because that's technically considered content spamming, and search engines aren't going to think you're doing any better than not posting at all. All right, so I have a blog post that I've written that I've written about Baldwin Park. So we're down here in Orlando. So Baldwin Park is a really nice subdivision in Orlando. And I wrote a nice article about it. I used like a quote about how awesome Baldwin Park is. I used a photo of Baldwin Park. Honestly, I don't think it is Baldwin Park. I just grabbed a photo. And down here, I believe I inserted a video. I don't know if it has anything to actually do with it. And then I've got more content below it. So this is a really nice content-friendly post. I always tell people to try to go for at least 300 to 500 words when they're writing, so that you're not just putting a picture or a PDF into a blog post. You need the content for the search engines to technically, like, they have little spiders and they crawl all over the content and they find out what you've been talking about. That's how the search engines work, and they decide what people get as a result when it comes to what the inquiry is to the search engine. So if you wanted to add a photo, there's a photo already here, so I'll just go ahead and delete it. Now, there's a lot of different options when it comes to adding photos. You can go to Add Media. If you have items in your media library already, they will show. If you want to upload something, you click Upload Files, and you're able to click Select Files and select something from your computer to upload to your blog. I have some media already put in here, so I'm going to grab one of them. And then you can notice over here you can add in alt text, you can add in a caption, you can change the description. There's a little bit of different options when it comes to adding an image. A caption will show below the image, and it'll just say what's going on in the image if you want to use a caption. Alt text kind of helps those search engines out when it comes to knowing what the image is, because those little robots that crawl all over this content aren't able to know what the photo is of without having that alt text that says, this is a photo of Baldwin Park. So that photo then is kind of labeled as something that is regarding Baldwin Park. The description is mostly just for yourself. Now, if you've had a blog for a couple of years, you've gathered and obtained a whole bunch of photos over time and documents that you've uploaded. This description allows you to be able to use this search area, and the search will help you find the things that maybe you're looking for that you uploaded a year ago. Okay, and then the display settings. These are really important. My favorite setting here is whether or not something is left or right aligned. If something is left aligned, the text is going to sit to the right of it. If something is right aligned, the text is going to sit to the left of it. If something is center aligned, your text is going to show above and below it. It's not going to wrap around it. So I'm going to do left align. And you see the link to area here. You can decide whether or not you want it to link to the image, whether or not you want if someone clicks it to go to a different place, or if you want it to not be linked up at all so that people can't click it. Then you have size. So you can have it as a thumbnail, medium, large, full size. And this is a matter of like how big the image is when you upload it as to whether or not how many of these choices you'll have. So if my image that I uploaded was only 300 pixels wide, I'm not going to have these other two options because WordPress won't stretch our photos for us. And why would we want it to? It's going to end up looking horrible. So I'm going to do medium. That's kind of like my go-to for all personal blogs and everything else. But, I mean, we all end up getting our own, way of doing things. So we're going to go ahead and insert into post. And you'll see that the image sits to the left and our text is wrapping around it to the right. If I changed it and if I had it aligned to the right and click update, now it's going to sit on the right and the text is going to be to the left. One other big thing that a lot of clients are recommended to utilize is something called the WolfNet WordPress plugin. Now, I do have it active on this blog that I'm utilizing here. So if I wanted to add in some search, like property searches for Baldwin Park to this blog post, I could go to WolfNet, go to my search manager. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and leave this post. I didn't want to change anything in it. So then it's going to take me to the search manager for WolfNet. And this is going to look very familiar for you. This is what you see for your MLS whenever you have the option to search. Okay, so if you're going to search for a specific state, let's say I'm going to look in Wisconsin, and I'm going to look for Baldwin. My MLS, my search that I have linked up here doesn't match like the area that I'm actually in. So I'm not going to be able to find actual Baldwin Park, but I think it's hilarious that there actually is a Baldwin here. So we're just going to utilize it. I see I have 87 matches. I could go from there to being like, I want to choose single family homes only, or condos and single families and townhouses. I don't want any duplexes or anything like that, or I'm only looking for price reduced houses or things like that. Your MLS will have, specific things based on what you're allowed to base your stuff off of. But if I go down here, I'm going to go ahead and save it and name it Baldwin Search, and then click Save Search. So I want to go back to the post that I wrote. I'm going to go back to it and click Edit, or just click the title. Both of them will take you to the same location. Okay, so at the bottom, I'm going to press Enter. And then I'm going to go up to the WolfNet Shortcode Builder here, the little paw print in your toolbar. Real quick, one thing. I know that a lot of Piggyback blogs don't have this already enabled, but there's a button here called the Toolbar Toggle that allows you to see or to not see what they call the kitchen sink, which is another, bunch of little icons that mostly control your fonts. So, but there's a lot of things for that. If you click the toolbar and get the little paw print, my favorite section is the listing grid because it lays out all of the properties in a grid with the photos showing, and it's just really nice to look at for your users and for yourself. I like to make a title that includes the keyword that we're going for here, which obviously would be Baldwin Park. So I would maybe put something like available homes in Baldwin Park. It's advanced. I'm not going to include a map, but you can. And you can say map only. And you can say that you want the map above or below the listings. And then we're going to look for our saved search, which I just made. And click Insert. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and update this post. And someone just asked if there's a fee from WolfNet to have that included, and yes, there is. I do recommend calling WolfNet and finding out about it. Um, I'm not sure what the actual fee for it is because I prefer that they give you all the awesome features that you can get. But I'll include that phone number at the end of the webinar, okay? So let's go ahead and view the post. So you can see how the properties get displayed whenever it comes to a property grid. Okay. So if I scroll down, here it is, available homes in Baldwin Park. Okay, and the great thing about this is that each and every single one of these properties is a specific place within my website. So I get credit for all of these listings. So what was it, like 23 or something like that? So this is one post, and then I've got 23 extra pages added to my domain on top of that. So that's one of the main reasons why that plugin is really awesome. Each listing it becomes an extra set of content and an extra set of pages that's added to your domain. The listings are indexable. That's the great thing about the plugin. That's what I was saying. Like with them being indexable, they're actually stored within your domain. So the search engines are going to think that these listings are on your website, not on somewhere like mlsfinder.org. Okay. Another thing, there are pages, and this is something that I've been recommending a lot lately because with this WolfNet plugin, it's really awesome to make something called community pages with listings of those available properties in them. It's kind of great for SEO. A lot of people will utilize a communities tab to their website. So you can see Ryan's website has an area for communities on his menu. And he's got all these laid out, and they're all inside of his blog. So if we go to Oak Point, so he's been making these pages himself, utilizing that plugin as well. And when it comes to these pages, it's always important to add in content, add in photos, and all that information in there so that search engines are able to know what this page is actually about, not just that it's full of links. So on top of that, there is a plugin that a lot of people have been asking me a lot of information about. And this plugin shows on both pages and on posts. And it's called the Seo Plugin. It's located right here. It'll automatically say like real estate blog right off the bat. And this is kind of like that extra key feature. Now, you don't have to use this. And you don't have to, it's really more important that you're putting content on your site on a regular basis than to be utilizing this plugin. So if this is something that's slowing you down, just don't bother with it then. But if you've gotten comfortable making blog posts and you are ready to do that extra little bit, this plugin is really nice, and it'll help you get that extra mile out of what you've been working so hard on. The big piece here is that there's a thing here called focus keywords. And this is going to help you when it comes to deciding whether or not you've gotten the most out of your blog post. Now, earlier, my blog post was obviously about Baldwin Park. So Baldwin Park was my keyword. So whenever you put in what your keyword is, it's going to go through and check if you've got it in all these different places. So it's checking first the article heading, which is this guy here. Am I using Baldwin Park? Yes, I am. All right, so then it looks for the page title. Oh. All right, this is article title and this is page title. And then it looks for the page URL, which is listed here. And you'll notice that whenever you're writing your title, most of the time your URL will be that title with dashes in between it, which is okay. I'll get to the question from viewer 26 in a second. Then it's also going to check the content. The content is going to be this whole area that you've actually written out, and it's going to look to see if you've written Baldwin Park within it. Because if your focus is something, you've got to be writing about it. And then lastly, it's going to check your meta description. Now, I get the question a lot as to what the meta description actually is. The meta description is that really nice key, like 156 character sentence or phrase that follows a link in a search engine. So if you didn't put anything in the meta description, it would automatically pull the first 156 characters. Now, this may not be the best representation of my actual blog post. It may not give you enough information to actually get people to want to click on it. So it's your 156 characters to try to sell your blog post to that person that may have seen your actual website show up in their search engine search. So after a while, you'll get used to writing these, or you can go and look at a couple in Google. Like Movoto, they've altered this information here. Instead of like here where it cuts it off and you're not getting the full amount of information, it's just showing the beginning part of what's on that page. Instead, it's getting me, all the information I need to make me want to go to that actual blog post or that page on the website. All right, so real quick, that one question that this person sent, they said, having blog posts and pages, blog pages and agency site with pages, 2 times the work and looking for best SEO. I recommend a lot of clients actually put the pages in their Piggyback blog rather than in their eAgency website. Now, I know that a lot of people have utilized additional pages on eAgency, and I'm going to try and find a page so you can see how the difference between a URL in eAgency looks in comparison to a URL in your Piggyback blog. I actually don't know if I have anybody with these pages. Well, whenever you do a page inside of eAgency, it ends up being things like this. And the search engines aren't going to take as much accountability when it comes to a page like this. The URL doesn't provide them any information about what is actually going to be contained within that page. But when you're utilizing a page inside of your blog, you're getting the ability for your actual content to be displayed inside of the URL. So that's one thing you're starting off with when it comes to pages inside of your blog rather than through eAgency. On top of that, you don't have any limit to how many photos you can upload to your Piggyback blog. And you know that in eAgency you're limited to 50 through your photo library, and the photo library isn't always the most cooperative thing inside of eAgency on top of that. However, you can easily, manipulate things inside of the media library here on your Piggyback blog. So that's one of the major winning points when it comes to one over the other. And on top of that, if it comes to, like, let's say a couple years from now, you're ready to go and, do your own custom website, or you're leaving Keller Williams or anything like that, and you want to take the content that you've already written with you, it's really, really, really easy to do from your Piggyback blog, but not as easy from your e-agency. You'll have to be doing a lot of copying and pasting, and you have to make sure that the content that you're taking is yours, not Keller Williams's. And most websites that are created these days are actually made as WordPress websites rather than as any other kind of website. I mean, nine out of every 10 is a WordPress website, because it's such a simple, easy to use platform that gives you everything you need at your fingertips and most people use it, so it's easy to ask questions about. And just so you know, I remain available for all questions. I have a link to where you can schedule time with me so that we can talk one-on-one about any of the questions that you have. So I'm always available. And I love helping everybody out. If you've written a blog post and you don't know if you're doing well, send me an email. I'll go look at it and I'll tell you what you're missing. I can do that too. So we're nearing up on the first 30 minutes, and I'm wanting everybody to be able to ask questions and get the answers to them. Someone else may be asking the same question as you. So, like I said, if you can't stay for the rest of the actual webinar, I'll be this is being recorded, so it'll be uploaded onto YouTube, and a follow-up email will be sent out with the link to that. So if you want to ask a question, this is the time to do it. I also apologize for the audio being choppy at some points. I know this I'm on an actual telephone for my audio, so it's not coming through the internet. But if you're having a hard time listening, that could also be your internet having a hard time getting it through, or we also use voice over internet protocol, so it could also be related to our internet signal at the time. All right, someone asked, Tracy, can you get more space around your picture? Whenever you're actually doing your blog post, you'll notice that it's kind of really bumped up against it. Here it is. See, you see that it's like right close. I would hate it if that's how it actually showed up in the blog. That it's not. You actually, if you post after the fact, there is a nice bit of space all the way around, so that it's not bumped right up against. I wouldn't say that you actually need more space than that, though. The next question I have up here is, my blog post does not have word processing buttons. How do I add them? If you're meaning word buttons like, when this opens up, I'll be able to show you. If you're not meaning these buttons right here, there's a toggle button right here that kind of opens and closes that kitchen sink area. So you'll be able to put, other information in, change the headings and things like that with that option. If you are meaning word processing buttons like that, then you wrote your blog post in Word and you're copying and pasting it in, the button to do that with is paste as text. All right, the next question, where can I grab the HTML code after posting? I'm not quite sure why you're trying to grab the HTML code, but if you actually want to see what the HTML code is like for a post, there's a tab at the top. You're actually mostly viewing your blog post area through visual, but there's a button here that says text if you want to see your entire post in code. And if you're familiar with that kind of stuff and you're wanting to play with that, then by all means, but most people are just going to do everything through visual. Can I take a tweet or a Facebook post and easily make a blog from them? If you want to elaborate it, whenever I say blog posts are being created, they should be within 300 to 500 words. And most most Facebook posts won't get that long, and tweets can't get that long anyways. Um, so, I mean, if there's something that you see on Facebook or Twitter that, or a link that someone posted on Facebook or Twitter that you find very useful or have a lot of helpful information on it, definitely click on it and get some knowledge out of it, and then regurgitate that on your blog so that but use your own words so that you're getting credit for the content rather than wasting your time and reposting something that someone else already has on the internet. How can I post a blog post to LinkedIn? Well, a lot of people have asked this question recently, and there's a really awesome plugin that's already available inside your Piggyback blog under plugins, and it is called Jetpack. You can activate Jetpack from inside your plugins area, and it gives you a bunch of options through there. You'll have to connect it with WordPress.com. Essentially, you'll need to have a WordPress.com login, which is going to be something completely separate from your Piggyback blog login. I get that question a lot. So when you do that, it gives you options to add on all these really cool extra features. It'll let you check your traffic, like how many times a blog post has been read or visited. On top of that, there's a section called Publicize right here that will allow you to automatically send out your blog post that you just published to any of the search engine and social media sections that you want it to go to. So let me just go to that area so you can see all the options of networks you can send it out to. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Path, and Google that you're able to publicize out to. I do have a video that walks you through this entire setup. And whenever I send the follow-up email, you'll notice at the top there's an area that says Piggyback blog tutorials, and that'll take you directly to all the tutorials that I have for Piggyback blogs. If you don't have the toggle, all you need is that kitchen sink item. The toggle button is right beside your WordPress Wolfnet paw print inside of your blog post or page edit area. All right, someone says, I have multiple blogs and change up some of the text and title and just grab the HTML and repost like the page in my eEdge community served page. Oh, okay. Well, if you want to paste in HTML or if you want to grab the HTML, then you just need to click on the text tab rather than the visual. Can you speak a little bit about posts versus pages and best practices? Okay, so I did mention for a second whenever we were talking about community pages that I think they're a great thing. On top of posts show up on your actual blog page. So if you visit your blog, you're seeing your blog posts, not your pages. When you write pages, you're going to have to link them up yourself. And you'll have to do so by adding them to the menu usually or having a page that links them all up. So that's one big thing. I've explained before that there's the big difference between posts and pages is that a post is much more like a magazine, so that you have your information that's current available to you and in a quick, digestible manner. A page is more like a static item, kind of like a novel. It's going to have information on it that's not going to change. So it's great for community pages or about us pages or contact us pages. But if it's something that's going on in the neighborhood, that's a post because it's current and that's something that's going on right now. If you're writing a little quick how-to about staging, that's going to be a post more than likely too. So that would show up in your post side, and it would show up whenever you click to view your blog. Can you discuss how to get the SEO green light? Have the SEO green tab filled out as discussed, but yellow light, tips to improve, and also discuss tags, please. Okay, so in that Baldwin Park blog post, let's go back to it and how I got green on it instead of yellow. Now, the big trick between this is even if you've got yeses all the way down here, you can still sometimes have a yellow light up here. And for those of you that haven't been filling this area out, you've probably been just seeing the red light. Green is what you're striving for if you end up using the SEO plugin. If you're getting anything other than green and you're getting all yeses here, the best way to tell what's going on and why you're not moving on to the green light, you can click this section called Page Analysis, and it tells you within it what things you can do better. And usually there's a red one in here that's keeping you from getting that green light. It's going to say something like, there's not enough images, like you don't have any images on the page, or there's no any outbound links, or you wrote really badly. But I can tell you honestly, I barely ever get anything over than a higher than 70 at the maximum for the copy score. Essentially, if you satisfy all the red lights in here, then you're going to get a green light. So this is like your extra little tips area for like what you're missing. It'll help you figure out the next best thing to do to try and improve your blog post. And then to discuss tags. Honestly, I don't use tags. They're not really that useful when it comes to SEO anymore. They're great for organizational things, though. If you want to add a tag cloud, because it's something that you write about on a regular basis, it helps with the search, I guess, maybe. But I don't even utilize tags anymore myself. Will it cover how to access the Jetpack? There is a tutorial at the top of the screen of the email that I send out that says there's a section that says Piggyback blog tutorials, and you can go straight to all of our tutorials. And there's one in there that says how to use Jetpack to publicize your blog post to social media. How do we embed photos from another website with WordPress Shortcode? Well, it doesn't really happen quite with WordPress Shortcode if you're going to embed an image that's from another location. If I wanted to put in an image from, I don't know, let me look here. I'm going to grab this image, copy image URL. I'm going to bring this into my blog post. So if I click Add Media, there's a section here that says Insert from URL. And you would just grab the URL and it would bring it in. This is not like technically you're not putting this in your actual website. It's not being stored in your website. It's still on piggybackblogs.com, and you can caption it and put alt text to it the same as you would anything else. You can left align it, right align it, center align it. Want to link it to anywhere, and you still insert it in the same as you would with regular photos. It's just that you have a different step to go about. Do you have any more questions? Anthony is another client that's going through and adding a lot of community pages on his website as well. He's also building out most of any of the additional pages that he wants for his website. He's building them out in his Piggyback blog rather than building them in his e-agency website. This allows him a little bit more control. It's easier to add photos. It's more SEO friendly because the URLs look nicer. There's a lot of clients that have been adding their About Us page into the Piggyback blog also, but I can't think of who they are right off the top of my head. As you're aware, I do talk to a lot of y'all on a regular basis. Were there any other questions, or did I miss anyone's question? In order to schedule a call with me, you can go to the website I'm going to be sending you here. You can go to this website, and all my available slots in my calendar are right there, and you can pick what time works best for you so that I'm not calling you and we're playing phone tag. It really is like a godsend for me to have that new scheduling system. Uh, in that you have my full attention during that amount of time instead of me trying to make that time once I've been on the phone. Oh, one last thing. When it comes to your blog and your website as a whole, it's always great to it sounds bad, but to limit yourself. When we call it, dominating a neighborhood rather than trying to take over, a whole city that everybody else is taking over already too. The difference between um, trying to focus on Orlando real estate versus Baldwin Park real estate. You're going to have a lot of competition whenever you take on the communities rather than to take on the entire city or the entire state. And your blog is a great way to highlight the areas that you're focused on. So you can create categories inside of their blog to add more distinction to the specific areas that you're talking about. So I made a community. I made a category called Baldwin Park within my blog, so that whenever I talk about Baldwin Park, I can say this is the category that I'm talking about, or something like that. Or if you have a buyer's tips category, so that if someone comes in and they only want to see things that you've written about buyers, they can click on that to your in the sidebar, like on Anthony's site here. There's an area for community development or information or announcements or just blog or affordable housing, and you can go to specifically the blog posts that are tagged as that category. So it's a little bit more digestible for your readers if they're looking for something very specific or not. On top of that, it'll allow for the category to be listed inside of the URL. So if this is an announcement, so inside of the URL you can see blog.anthonyblink.com, which is common for everyone, and then you can see announcement, which is the category name, and then you can see the title is written out like this. So Google's getting a mouthful of information right from the start with just the URL. So it's really nice to utilize that stuff. One other thing in this section, you'll notice that his blog page doesn't have a sidebar in it. This is an option whenever you are creating a page to be able to utilize a template. And that template would be called full width. So give me 1 second. Okay, so when you have the template area over here, you can decide that you want it to be full width or not. So that if you want the page to take up full width the way that Ryan's does on here, then that's the option to have it not have a sidebar. There are training videos inside of here. However, the ones that I recommend are going to be on Hello BrandCo's YouTube channel. There's an actual playlist just for the tutorial videos. This is linked at the top of the email that I send announcing the webinars and in the follow-up after the webinar. And you'll see that there's a video regarding the Jetpack plugin, add photos, Google Analytics, that green light SEO video, photo galleries, creating a form. Pretty much is everything's in here. If there's ever anything that's not in there, please just feel free to reach out to me. I can make these easily. If you want your assistant to come into this training instead of yourself, all I need is the link, and they can get on. I know that whenever I send out the emails, it has the link or the code that you put in if you just go to joinme.com or join.me. You just type in Piggyback blogs, and it doesn't have to be the person that received the email. If you're wanting to get a little bit more into how to manipulate or know more about WordPress, there's also videos at BrandCo.com, videos. And there's a bunch of stuff in here about the difference between pages versus posts, changing your theme. Oh, you're never gonna have to do that inside your Piggyback blog. This is more general stuff. That's why I have that specific page of tutorials just for Piggyback blog. But if you also visit our blog, I do write on a regular basis some little tips and tricks and the responsive that we've been building, why you should use Jetpack, how to keep an eye on your site traffic, how to go an extra mile to earn SEO. If there's anything I can write about that you feel is going to be helpful to you, just let me know, and I'll do my best to get it out there to you. So if anybody else has any more questions, I'm going to allow the floor to be open for the next 5 minutes, and if we don't have anything else, then we'll just go ahead and put it to a close. What what do you mean by remedial help? Gotcha. If you are able to, can you go to that link and schedule some time with me, and we can sit down together and go through it and see what's holding you up, and make it not so scary for you. I understand that whenever you log into this dashboard for the first time, it's overwhelming. There's so many buttons and things and so many extra things that you can do. But I mean, it's really all about posting, and I tell people that when it comes to being your feed is honest, just write the same way you would write to your clients or talk to your clients. If you don't know what to write about, we have an amazing little contact form that you can go to that will provide you with 52 blogging subjects. That gives you a subject for every week of the year. So that gives you one thing to write about every week. So that's awesome. That's 52 blog posts a year at least, on top of the extra things that you could be writing about. If there's an event going on in your area, write about it before it happens. And then um, once it's happened and you've went to it, take a couple photos of it, and then once you've experienced it, write how it was. I've landed on I don't know how many real estate websites here in Orlando just trying to figure out whether or not a fireworks show is going to be worthwhile to go to, based on how it was last year. When it comes to the 4th of July, we're trying to figure out, hey, was Lake Eola's fireworks show good last year, and what time is it going to be this year? And randomly, it's always been real estate websites that I've found that on. What I'll do is in the follow-up email that I send, I will also include the link to my my calendar so that you can schedule time with me. And then on top of that, I'll also include the link to go to the contact form to fill out for your for the 52 blogging subjects. All right, so the question I just got was, I'm not sure if our blogs are actually being read at all. Is there an easy way to see that? It seems to take so long to make a green, sexy SEO blog, and not sure if it's worth the time. What's worth the time is putting content on the site. The more content, the more words, the more things the search engines have to crawl over to grab that information to see whether or not your site should be given as a result. Now, you don't have to have that green, sexy SEO blog. It's nice to have. If that's bogging you down, though, just kick it to the curb and don't bother with it until you decide that you want to. And if you're wanting to see if people are actually visiting your site, there's 3 different ways to do it that I recommend. One of which is Clicky. The next one is Google Analytics, and then the last one is my favorite one, which I've already mentioned this plugin many times in this webinar, and it's called Jetpack. Jetpack, once it's activated, automatically allows you to have site stats. As you can see in this section here, this is actually my site stats for this demo site that I utilize. So obviously it's not much of anything, or it's just me. But it gives you this ability to see how many people are visiting, and it'll show you like what actual blog posts people are looking at, what are the searches, things like that. Now, if you're not marketing your website on top of doing the blogging, then you have to do a little extra by marketing it. And Jetpack is the other great thing that really helps with the marketing side of things by being able to publicize those blog posts automatically to social media. So that you don't have to copy and paste that link or anything like that. It automatically gets out to those people that follow you on social media already, and they'll click and then they'll share, and then all that other kind of stuff happens as a result. So that's one of the main things is publicizing your actual blog posts. So Jetpack does both of that for you. If the SEO plugin is bogging you down, just ignore it for a while. The content overrides everything. That's what's really important. And you don't have to be a journalist or a novelist to write these things. I've read, I don't know how many blog posts that I've actually read, and they've had, severe grammar errors. And they're on reputable websites like Kotaku or Mashable, and they still get posted and get lots of views. So you don't have to be a novelist or a journalist or anything like that. Talk like you talk to your clients. All right, well, I'm going to put this webinar to a close. I will be sending out an email with the recorded webinar, and I will include the 2 links that I said that I would. And I'm happy that everybody got to make it, and we'll be having another one next week. So if you know someone that couldn't make it and is not a big fan of watching the videos, invite them along, getting an email then. Otherwise, the weekend after next, I will be at Mega Camp, so everybody please just come see us at our booth. I don't really know what the booth number is at the moment, but that's why I won't be doing one that week. My strategy is to share a good article. That way I don't have to create it. Actually, the strategy to share a good article, don't do that. Write your own content, or like you're wasting your time almost, because someone else is already getting credit if you're copying and pasting someone else's information. And it's technically, if you're not linking out to who did it, then you're also plagiarizing. Always use your own words. Write it yourself. You can use quotations within your post, but write it yourself. Okay? That's the last thing I'd really look into that. So I have to tell that to my clients on a regular basis. Write it yourself. You wouldn't turn in a paper that someone else wrote already. So I'll see everybody next week.